a tool to be better and to make it beautiful, right? So beauty from ashes. We use the dream catcher so that you will, there's symbolism of letting only the good things in and protecting yourself from those bad things. You have control over what you let in to your life, and so that was kind of a cool, analogy. So as we're thinking about what are we letting in, because we have control over that. So I'm so excited that this morning we get to talk with Josh Coates. Josh has been a push coach for 5 years. He said 4 years actually people working with him. So it was probably, that's a joke. Anyway, and he works with a lot of people in network marketing as a push coach. He helps them kind of break through barriers, learn consistency, and that sort of thing. So I'm very excited. We asked him to come when we found out this weekend was happening because we want to start off the year right as a team. And so we're really, really excited about having Josh. So he's got his coffee. He's happy. So he's going to push us a little bit this morning. So, yeah. Yay!
Hi, guys. I'm so glad no one's sitting here because I was like, there's nowhere to put my coffee, my phone. This is perfect. This is my setup. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it so much. Who was praying for my flight last night? Thank you so much. Somehow our flight made up like 40 minutes in the air. I don't even know how that happened. I was like, I'm like checking my app. Ginny, of course, she's like very calm, mindful person. She's like, Josh, worrying about it isn't going to fix anything. You just have to. And I'm like, no, I must control every controllable. What's happening? We're calculating every single minute. And then I feel us like descending. I was like, we should have had like another hour and a half to go. So anyways, thank you. I love you guys so much. Appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about something that everyone loves to talk about, no one likes to do. We're going to go like me and Josh pretty fast.
Bring it.
Everyone loves to talk about 1,000 different ways to do this, but nobody actually does it. Let me preface by saying that last year I had, how many people do we have in here that are diamond-ish level, 1 star, maybe you're almost diamond? Last year I had a group of about 6 girls that were at that level who wanted to go elite. They said, Josh, at the end of the year I just want to go elite. All of my dreams would come true if I could get that phone call and get those roses in the mail. And I said elite by the end of the year, that's ridiculous. You should be making elite happen by Summit. And they were like, what? I said, if you do the right things. Elite should not be a yearly thing.
Amen.
That's like something you do in the first half of the year. I said, if you stick with me and do what I tell you to do. Now, let me just get this straight. When I say do what I tell you to do, I'm not one of those people that's like, okay, today I'm going to teach you 45 new ways to recruit people. I'm like, no, go recruit 45 people. You figure it out. It's not my job to figure out everything for every human's business. There's no way I could possibly be that smart. I'm not that smart, okay? Remember the whole first year, nobody worked with me? Okay, I'm not that smart. My job is to give you the push, the drive, and the accountability. Your job is to go make that happen. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You know what happened? 5 out of 6 of them went elite by Summit, and the other one went elite the next month. If Summit would have just been normal and been in July, like it always is, she would have been fine. But they decided to switch everything up last year. I think it's coming back to normal this year, thankfully. So no worries. But the reason I say that is because I was in the middle of making an Instagram post this morning, and then I was like, I don't really have time to make a post and get to the meeting, so we'll just save Instagram posts for later. I believe in something called the law of sowing and reaping. I believe that it's a universal principle. I learned it from religion growing up, and it is probably the only thing that I knew going into my business about business, was that if the law of sowing and reaping applied in every other area of life, it also has to apply to business. And that's why for my first year, even though no one wanted to work with me, I was committed to doing whatever I had to do to continue sowing seed, sowing seed, sowing seed, sowing seed. You could also call it the compound effect, but I personally just like the verbiage of the law of sowing and reaping because I love this analogy. There's a nice tree back there just waiting for my analogy. It's so beautiful. Thank you guys. This is all lovely. So I want you to imagine here for a second. I ask you to plant a tree. Okay? Now, maybe none of you have ever farmed before. Maybe a few of you have. I born in Tulsa, grew up in Kansas. You would think I lived on a farm. I've seen a farm like once in my life. Okay? I lived in more urban areas. So, but I'm smart enough from things that I learned in like first grade science to know we need 3 things for growth of a seed. Do you guys know what it is? You guys know what it is? Say it out loud. Dirt, water, sunlight. Those 3 things. Do you need a smart person? Do you need a pretty person? Do you need someone who has reached their goal weight? Do you need someone who can dance to hip-hop videos on Instagram before their workout? Are any of these things factors in whether or not you can get a tree to grow? So why is it that when we come to our business, we take the law of sowing and reaping, which says, as long as there's a seed, okay, that's whatever your dream is, that's whatever your goal is, whatever your vision is, that's the seed. Okay? All I need is soil and sun and water. Why is it that when it comes to nature, not a single one of us will plant a seed, water, and say, oh my God, maybe I'm just not outgoing enough. This tree is never going to grow. Maybe I just don't have good enough of a following. I mean, the tree knows that my engagement's been down. Instagram's been screwing everybody lately. Apparently, this tree just can't grow. We don't ever attach any of those things. But all of a sudden, we start to grow a business. And we start to attach all of our personal doubts, all of our limiting beliefs, our past experiences, and we try to pretend that these are a part of an equation that they have nothing to do with. Nothing to do with at all. And that's why I teach this equation in my Push Mastermind group. I want you to write this down. Consistency. These are big words. Josh doesn't usually use words this big, but plus intensity, plus worth, plus time. This is actually a formula Dave Ramsey gave, I think in EntreLeadership, except he didn't put the word worth. I added the word worth. And here's why. It was actually Michael Folsom that shared this equation with me. Consistency plus intensity plus time. And I was like, I love that. I love that so much. Because sometimes we just say, just do the work. Just keep doing the work. Just do the work. Keep doing the work. And there is a little bit more to it than that. Because if you do the work every single day with zero intensity, meaning zero energy, zero life, zero expression, it's almost like that is like the water. Does that make sense? So you've removed one of the ingredients that you really needed. Okay? So I want you to almost see it as consistency, intensity, worth, time. These are consistency, intensity, and worth is almost like your soil, your light, and your water. Okay? So some of you are putting in the consistency and you're like, I'm not getting the same results. Something's wrong with me. Well, question. Are you giving the same intensity? In other words, let's pretend for a second we're working out with Sean T. Okay? You're praying to God Sean T is going to make it today, and I absolutely refuse to ever hope for someone not to show up. But also, if he doesn't show up, I might get to speak. For your guys' sake, I'm praying for Sean T to get here. But if God has other plans, I'll understand. But so, when he gets here today, and he leads that workout, let me ask you this. How many of you are going to bring your like A+++ game when Sean T's watching? Correct? Now how many of you will like maybe do one of these hand raises, like down here, you know, like the person that we invited to the Pentecostal church for the first time, they're not sure they're ready. Okay? How many of you can say, Josh, that's not the kind of intensity I bring in my workout every day? But if I did, I would get better, I would get better results. Would you guys all agree to that? Okay. Now let's transfer that over to the business. When I'm breathing down your neck, and I'm like, you gotta, I'm sure like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Like, but is that the kind of intensity you bring for yourself? Is that the kind of intensity you show up with? Are you showing up with literally life reflecting out of your face? That's attraction marketing. I know everyone's got like, here's how you do attraction marketing. If you use pink filters or neon green colors and you intertwine these filters with these, that's not attraction marketing. Attraction marketing is, do you have light glowing from your eyeballs? That's attraction marketing. Go look at all the people that are so good at attraction marketing. You'll see they have like a really, really, really almost like trademark smile. What a weird thing. But that's what we sell, isn't it? Hope, confidence, life, belief. We don't sell six-pack abs. If you got them, way cool. That sells well too. But we sell transformation. Okay? And then here's the next thing that I had never honestly really heard anyone teach on. And the only reason I heard people teach on it, but not with the formula of success. But I run all these different mastermind groups where I do Q&A time with people. And I ran specifically a couple for 6 months that were small group masterminds for people around like a diamond level. And week after week after week after week after week after week after week, I realized these people just, they don't have self-worth. And if I can show up once a week and I can light their soul on fire, it's good enough to get them through the week. But honestly, these people need me to inject that into them once a week. If you remove me from the equation, and I learned that the hard way when that group shut down, a lot of those people just fell apart. Now, that's not really my fault for shutting down the group. I have to transition my business the way I see fit. No one else's success is ever my responsibility. Please remember that, okay? But it taught me a valuable lesson. That if you don't have the worth side of things, I think that's the soil. The soil is the one irreplaceable part of the equation. I use this in my sales closer sometimes, so if you're on my next webinar and I hear this. I say this, you can take a seed and you can plant it on the pavement, 0% chance of it growing, right? 0% chance. But if you plant it in my front yard, even if it doesn't get the perfect amount of sun and the perfect amount of water, over time it can still blossom, correct? Does that make sense? Worth is the one irreplaceable. If you do not have worth, in other words, you don't believe in what you have to offer, here's what's going to be really hard. To bring the level of intensity it takes to attract other humans to give you their money to change their life. Because if you don't believe in yourself, why in the world would they hand money to you to change their life? Why would they trust you? Here's the other thing that's going to be really hard. To be consistent long enough for it to pay off. How many of you can say, Josh, if I had this seed and I were going to plant it in the ground and I knew I had like an 80 to 90% chance that it would grow and create something that would change my life, I'd stick to that. Correct? But here's the problem. If you don't understand self-worth, you think it's more of like a 10 to 20% chance. Now, how many just, let's just say wonderful people that have great ambition and are incredible people are going to wake up early every single day, send messages that make them feel uncomfortable, talk about things on social media that challenge them for a hope of a 10 to 20% chance of their life changing a year from now? Not a whole lot better than the lottery, and a little bit better than the lottery, but let's be real, nobody's doing that. Would you guys agree? Mm-hmm. If you don't have your worth, you probably think somewhere deep down that you really only have like maybe a 10% chance of this ever paying off. So what kind of intensity are you going to bring when you think you got a 10% chance?
None.
Almost none. And you may be consistent because you are a rule follower, And you are not a quitter. And you will wear your TBB hat until you die. But you won't have no money to leave anybody. You'll have some really wrinkly skin from all the stress. This is the main point that I want to make before we dive into some like actual workshop stuff. If you are telling your family, I told you we're going to get real heavy. I'm just going to apologize in advance for this heavy bomb that's about to drop.
Do it.
It's coming. If you are telling your family, I started this business for you. I'm working this business for you. I'm creating a better life for you. Please let me let me spend this money to go to the next summit. I promise this time I'll actually do something with it. Let me sign up for Josh's training. I promise this time will be different than the last 10 times I paid people money. Let me, take the whole weekend and go to Hotel Indigo and party with my girls. And learn with my girls. I promise this time will be different. If you are making this promise, but not recruiting, you are lying. Just gonna let that one hang there. If you're making this kind of promise and not recruiting, you are lying. I told my kids every single time I went to their mouth, Daddy, don't go in the office. Come on, play with us. In reality, I was not going to be playing with them for 8 hours straight. But kids like to have you around. Agree? That's where mom guilt comes from. Not because it's like you were in the middle of reading them a book and you're like, oops, notification, peace out. It's like most of the time it's just like they want you to be available, right? That's them being a kid. They're selfish. They're kids, right? But for me personally, I told my kids, here's the thing. Do you want bigger allowances? Yes, we do. I found their love language. It's money. These little brats, they want money. Do you want to go on vacations? Yes. Do you want to have cooler birthday parties? Yes. Then Daddy needs to go to his office for a few hours and do work. But do you know what I did in those few hours? Okay, so is this like glitter or like sparkles or like pink or purple? No. I messaged people. And I sent the same script to so many people. I was convinced before Beachbody coaches even knew who I was that they probably already had a whole thread and group about Josh. Now they really do have those threads and groups, but this was before they even knew my name. I was like, somewhere there's like a thread going around. Who is this Josh Coates guy? Did anyone get a message from him? Yeah, it looked like this. Oh my God, that's the exact same message I got. And here's what I decided. If 90% of the entire world hates my guts, and that's hard for me because I'm a people pleaser. Any people pleasers in here? That's not a good excuse though. I said 90% of people hate my guts, but 10% of people are willing to give me a chance, and that allows me to keep my promise to my kids. That's worth it. That's worth it. So you know what I did? When I went to my office, number one, I was very intentional with my time, and number two, I did the right stuff. I didn't lie. I didn't say Daddy's going to go create a better life for you and then go screw around on Snapchat. I didn't go just, I don't know, post in 1,000 groups and pretend. I didn't put on my TBB hat and pretend I actually went and did the work. Just kidding about the TBB hat. I think they're great. I wish I had. I went and did the actual work it takes to grow the business, because you know what started to happen? Because I made this promise, and I literally reminded my kids of it every single day. When I would come out of my office, when I had started to have consultations, which yes was after the first year of messaging people, I would have consultations with people. I'd come out of the office, and my kid, Kate, my middle kid, he's got the heart of an entrepreneur. He's going to be a millionaire before he's like 16. Dad, did they sign up? They did, buddy. Oh my gosh. And he would literally tally them in his head. Wow. Because I promised them when I got to 25 clients, I would never work with that many people now one-on-one, but at the time that's the only thing I had to offer. 25 clients, I would double their allowance. He kept a tally. There were some nights I was on the phone for, like, once my business actually started to pick up, there's always that weird season between I don't make enough money to quit my full-time job, but I have to work until these things catch up. So there was a season of like 3 months where I was doing sometimes 4 to 6 calls at night when I got home from work. And as long as I explained to them, this is why Daddy's doing it. Guess what? Here in another couple months, Daddy's going to quit his day job. All these calls are going to be during the day, and I'm going to be free all the night. And I kept explaining to them over and over. I kept making them a promise, but then I carried it through. So my 10-year-old now, who would have been, wow, he would have been 6 years old that second year of my business. Daddy, did they sign on? No, they didn't. That's okay, Dad. We're going to get the next one. And he would tally every time I gained a client, every time he'd be like, so that's 19? That's 19? I'm like, actually, a couple dropped off this week. Okay, so 17. We got 17-year-old. And he would literally keep track in his head. And when I hit 25, they were so freaking pumped. And I doubled their allowance. And for a 6-year-old kid, a $10 allowance was like a big deal to him. I mean, that was more money than I used to just like have in my bank account. So it was a big deal for me too. But I kept my promises. So today I want to set you up to keep your promises. But I really want that to sink in with you that this business, it's network marketing. Okay? On one hand, yes, it's sales, and I kind of personally believe that everything in business is sales, even leadership is sales, everything we do, parenting is sales, it's all sales. But without the recruiting aspect, you're in a really bad business. And I don't say that to try to talk anyone out of Beachbody, because I think Beachbody is an incredible business. But if you're not recruiting, it kind of takes away the whole point of this thing, doesn't it? But also, aren't you kind of selfish? Now, we would say that about health and fitness, right? I'm selfish if I don't invite people to join my challenge group, because it's done so much for me. And then comes to coaching, well, I don't really make 9 figures a week like the other coaches do. And I don't drive Lamborghinis and Ferraris. How many of you in this room are more confident because of coaching? More fulfilled because of coaching? Have a passion because of coaching? Okay, now, how many people in this world need those things? Even if you don't make money, you have 99% of what everyone else in the world is looking for. I wasn't looking for money when I joined the John Maxwell team. I wasn't like, okay, what's the best way to make multi-6 figures? Let me Google it and search. I just wanted to grow and feel fulfilled and feel like I was making a difference in the world. It wasn't until 3 to 6 months in that I even decided to do it as a business. I was just honestly doing it for the sake of personal growth. I wanted to be a better leader because I volunteered at church. I knew that I had ambition to do something with my life, so I was just looking for any opportunity to grow. How many of you didn't sign up originally because you wanted to make money? You signed up because you wanted a discount on your Shakeology because you were poor like me, right? You signed up because you wanted the community or the accountability, or maybe just because you wanted to pay for your Shakeology, but not necessarily because you wanted to make $1 million, right? And then later you caught the vision, which tells me that this has so much value even without the money factor, because a lot of you didn't sign up with money being factor. So why are we making money the only factor when it wasn't your factor? Makes no sense. We're crazy. But I need you to understand how powerful this is. So I want you, right now, to fast forward 5 years. Because 5 years ahead always makes us feel like we can be invincible, right? Like, I may suck now, but in 5 years, I can be awesome, okay? 5 years from now, let's say you have recruited your absolute dream team. These girls are awesome, okay? What would be the 3 words you would use, 3 descriptive words you would use to say who those kind of people are? In other words, 5 years from now, I want you to just imagine you are sitting, this is your room, okay? Full of your girls. And I said, tell me about the girls on your team. They're awesome, Josh. Let me tell you. They are, and you give me these 3 descriptive words. Write them down. You guys got your 3 words? Okay, I want you to look at those 3 words really, 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 really good. Now, let's rewind back to normal life, unfortunately. Let's come back to reality. What are the current 3 words you would describe your coaches with? If 0 is the only word you come up with. We can talk from there. I said this to someone the other day, and they said, haven't arrived yet. What are the current 3 words I would use to describe your team? Now let me ask you this. Is there a big difference? Yeah, there is, isn't there? I mean, there's always going to be some type of a difference because none of us are ever going to have our dream team, okay? No matter how much we teach on your avatar, your perfect dream team, the perfect coach will never attract that because people don't just attract who they are, they also attract people who want to be who they are. So we'll always get people that want to be like, so there is no perfect, okay? But there's always room for growth. So here's what I want you to ask yourself. I want you to look back at your 3 words that you wrote of what you want to have, okay? What you want to have. And now I want you to think about your social media. I want you to think about the posts that you're making every single day. I want you to think about the stories that you're doing every single day. Are you speaking the language of those 3 words and calling out to the people of those 3 words? So here's the next thing, because I know sometimes it's a little bit harder for coaches, especially if you don't have like a lot of, especially if you got like 6 discount coaches and a husband and a mom. A little bit harder to describe your coaches, right? So here's what I want you to do. If I were to come look at your social media right now, okay, and I were to look through your posts, your pictures, and your stories for the last 3 months, what 3 words do you think I would say to describe you? Write those 3 words down. And this one better not say non-existent, okay? If you don't have coaches, that's one thing. Does anybody see a difference between the person I would come to social media and accuse you of being and the person that you are actually trying to attract and create? Is there a difference? Raise your hand if you see a difference. I want to hear a couple examples. What's yours? Before, what's
the before?
Yeah, if I were to look at your social media now, who are you portraying?
Honestly, I feel beautiful.
Okay.
So that and that I work out too much.
That you work out too much. Okay. And who are you trying to attract?
Quirky people that are self-motivated.
Okay. People that are self-motivated.
Yes.
Quirky. Well, give me a 3rd word.
I put kind.
Kind. Okay. So quirky, kind, self-motivated.
Yes.
Okay. And what are you putting on social media?
That I work out too much and that I feel pretty.
That I work out too much. So pretty. Okay. So, do you see how these 3 words can change that?
Yes.
Now here's what I don't want people to do. I don't want you to stop showing the world that you work out, okay? But if the only thing the world knows about you is that you work out, has anyone in here ever chased someone down the street that's out running? Hold on! I need to lose weight too! Hold on! Excuse me! Excuse me! Has anybody ever done that?
No.
Probably very loud. Probably they're all doing push today. Sorry! Very loud. No one's ever done that, correct? Now what if someone's going around like handing out cards or flyers or something saying, hey, I've got a gym, would you like to come? Now you know what they offer, right? But let's take it a step further. If they actually want to hire people, at some point they have to say the words, we're looking for people. Correct? And so here's the thing, when it comes to recruiting, it's legit so simple. Now nothing is ever easy, but it's simple. Post more about the job opportunity. And of course, I'm not saying use those exact words. And actually, this one just almost makes me laugh to say out loud because it's so simple. Ask people to join your team. I have done several, so I have my art recruiting group and I do all these bonus modules where I let my clients kind of come on and talk, and I recently did a virtual recruiting summit where I took 3 of the girls that went from basically a fallen 1-star, so essentially a current diamond to elite by summit, put them on a virtual recruiting summit call. And I just asked them, like, what is working for you? Okay, now here's the thing, they did have some really cool ideas of how they're doing these things, but in reality, do you know what? It happens every single time I interview someone about recruiting. I post about the business more and I invite people to join my team. Of course, there's some more to it than that as far as you can always learn more unique and creative ways to do those 2 things, right? But at the end of the day, it's those 2 things. Just like, let's be real, can we all be honest? Fitness and health is as simple as put in natural things to your body. What are you doing over there? And exercise every day. What do we do in Beachbody? We make that so simple process a little bit more creative and fun by having Shaun T yell and scream at us and having a step to like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But at its very root and at its very base, okay, it's really eat healthy, exercise. And any kid in the world could tell you that. You don't have to have someone with a degree, correct? So the challenge is not knowing what to do. The challenge is, are you someone who's willing to put yourself in the environment that's going to then make it a creative process that you can enjoy, as opposed to, okay, I have to eat healthy and exercise today. So let's put on my sweatbands and my 80s shorts. And I'm thinking of, what was it, rocking to the 50s? What was that guy's name? Thank you. There's a reason that died off, okay? People got a little bit more creative about how we can move it. But at its very basis, it's that simple. So if I could just get you to walk away from here and realize how simple recruiting is. Now that doesn't mean that if you go start posting about the business today and asking people to join your team today, that tomorrow you'll be 25-star, 29,000 star. But what it does mean is consistency, intensity, work. What's the last word?
Time.
6 months from now, you will be a totally different person. Business, completely changed. 6 months is all I need, and your life will be completely changed if you will take this formula and implement it to whichever area, whether it's recruiting, and then you're going to come to me like, oh my God, Josh, I'm recruiting everyone in the world, but no one wants to do anything. I'll be like, okay, then let's talk about leadership. Same formula. Same exact formula. What's your 3 words that you want to have?
Committed, driven, and I also have passionate with that,
Mm-hmm.
and then faithful.
Okay, you made 4. She's an overachiever. I'm going to tell her to recruit 20 people a month because she'll go find a way to do 25. What are you currently putting out?
I'm an encourager, I'm a motivator, and I'm an
so right now, basically you're a motivator, which is great. We should all be motivators, okay? But the question is, what are you trying to motivate people to become? And that's your other 3 words. Or your 4 words, I should say. You're an overachiever. What are your 4 words again?
Committed, driven, passionate, and faithful.
Is that the main message on your social media?
No.
No. So you are motivating people.
Yes.
But if I had to guess, you're motivating people a little bit like, I've got this motivation in my hands and I'm just like throwing it at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yes.
As opposed to, I've got these specific, like 3 or 4 things picked out that I know are the tools that are going to break down that wall. And those are the things I'm throwing at the wall. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's got to become your message. If that's who you want to attract, okay, the law of magnetism says you attract who you are, not what you want. Here's the problem with social media. Nobody knows who you are unless you tell them. Does that make sense? So you could essentially be the hardest working person on the planet. You could be the most passionate person on the planet. You could be the most excited person on the planet. But nobody on social media knows that unless you take the time to express those things onto social media. Make sense? Okay. 3 words.
Oh, me.
Yes, you.
Where I am now, or what I?
Both.
Okay. Right now, I would say my people, except for a couple that show, are overwhelmed, unfulfilled, and doubtful. Those are the people that.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Because I feel like there's, a lot of moms in this room that relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm looking for, that I feel like I should be putting out there, I'm getting there,
Getting good.
are go-getters,
Uh-huh.
selflessly selfish type people. They know how to give, but they also need to learn how to be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And, can't read my writing, fun/welcoming.
Okay. Say those 3 words again.
Go-getters,
Okay.
selfishly selfish,
Okay.
and fun welcoming.
Okay. Are you putting out that message on social media?
I know, I think I put the fun out. You did not? Okay. Combination there. I think I put the selfless out.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the selfish for my selfish. And probably the go-getter, I'm getting closer to that.
Okay. So you put out the selfless, but not the selfish.
Yeah, that's hard for me.
Why?
I think it comes from that if you feel, in the word blessed, but whatever that word is, where you feel like you've already, your life has been good, and you feel guilty for doing more.
This
Right? You can, yeah.
literally my favorite. I'm so
I know it is. I mean, I'm kind of glad you called on me.
When Stephanie texted me and said that I needed to be prepared to speak today, I was like, well, if I have to fill Shanti's shoes, if that happens, I'm going to bring my A quadruple plus game. So I was going through my Super Saturday notes, completely rewriting my presentation. And this is one of the things that I was going to hit up was this, because I talk about limiting beliefs in my Super Saturday presentation. And one of the things I talk about is this thing of, I'm selfish if I want more. Anybody else relate to that? Okay. So, let me ask you this. If you had $20 million, okay, right now, $20 million, what are some of the things that you would do with it?
Give it away.
You have to.
What are some of the things you would do with it?
Okay, that too. That's why it's hard for me. Joy and I talk about this a lot. This is why it's hard for me. I don't have I've met you before. My first thing would be African safari with my family to surf, like ecotourism. So that's on the list. But I just, enough is enough. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not 20 digging for more money.
Wait, you would go where with your husband?
Like a safari.
You would go
But I
all
give back.
the way to Africa,
I mean, it's not even that big of a deal.
where like, I don't know the stats, okay? I don't know the stats. But if I had to guess, probably at least 50%, if not way more, are living in extreme poverty.
Right, that's where the whole.
Don't know where they're gonna get their next meal.
Right. a give back type thing.
What's
That's
that?
a giving back type. Yes, it's a trip,
Mhm.
but like an eco work when you're there service
Okay,
thing.
okay, so you do have something you wanna give to, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Now let's ask, with $20 million, how many times could you do that? As many times as you wanted, as many places as you wanted, for as many people as you wanted, or you could be talking to someone in this room, and someone in this room says, and I've always, my entire life, wanted to go do this thing for this community, or this, and you would say, how much do you need? Does that make sense? Now currently, are you able to do that? If she's sitting right here and she says, I have an orphanage that I really want to build in Africa. The problem is it's gonna cost a couple $1 million with staff and everything that I need. Could you write the check?
For a couple million, no.
Okay. So that's where, for me personally, and I'm not saying that everyone has to be this way, but for me personally, I just believe as long as I'm here on this earth, it's my responsibility to help as many people as humanly possible, and I can only help so many people with what I currently have. Does that make sense? I could have done this workshop 15 times this weekend if I had my own plan. 15 times. I could have spoke at 15 Super Saturdays. And I don't think for a second that everyone needs me, like if Josh shows up, he'll save the day. But I do believe that I have something to offer the world. And that if I show up, I'm gonna leave that place better. Does that make sense? And if I can't show up, I didn't get a chance to leave that mark. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my belief is that service is what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes before for me. So I know this is I know this is a wall for me. So I feel like the service is where I want to. I don't believe it takes a lot of money to serve now. So that's.
Well, I don't believe it takes a lot of money to serve. I just believe that with money I could serve a lot more.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I get
So
that.
you're trying to make an or statement.
I get
I'm trying to make an and. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not, well, I can't help the world until I have $5 million. It's, I'm gonna help the world as much as I can with what I have, but I'm also gonna realize this world's a really big place. So I need to raise more funds so that I can empower more people to have that same opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I have neighbors, they don't even have the money to go serve in Africa and they want to. Who's gonna write the check for them? Oh, I want to so bad. Who's going to, I have a dad and a sister who have full-time jobs because of the growth my business has seen. And every single time I think, you know what, let's just scale this bad boy back a little bit and let's just take it easy, because honestly with my one-on-one clients, I could live a comfortable life and I'd be fine. But my dad and my sister and the youth pastor at my church would all be unemployed. And I'm not okay with that. And I can think of many more people that need good jobs. And I would rather them work for me than where they have to work now, because I'm a way better boss. I'm like the nicest guy in the world. I'm mean to you guys, but to them, I'm the nicest guy in the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I want everyone to realize it's never, ever, or. It's always and. We can always have whatever we want and help other people. We can serve the world and raise funds for the parts of the world that we may not have the time to go to, or for the people that we want to send. Does that make sense? Kid at my church wants to go on a mission trip. I want to be like, how much money you need, bro? Now here's the thing, I'm going to trick you into thinking you don't have the money, because you really do need to learn how to work for it. So come over to my house, clean all day, wash my car, and then I'm going to hand you like $1,000. And we're going to send you on a trip. Okay? What 3 words did you write down?
I wrote, for the team that I want them to be ambitious, consistent, and believers.
I like those words.
And what I'm putting out right now, I think that it shows that I'm consistent and that I'm a believer, and I get the health freak comment a lot, so I don't think I show a lot of my personality and who I am on a regular basis.
Right. And it is okay for people to call you a health freak, because at the end of the day, let's be real, in America, if you like chose vegetables over French fries, you're a health freak, right?
Yeah.
We're on like a no sugar January, and everywhere we go, we're like, do you have like a something with no sweeteners? And people are like, what? Yeah, it's called water. Like hoping maybe you were creative with something else on your menu. So that's okay, except that if it's the only thing you're putting out, you know what I'm saying? Then it's a problem. So what do you need to change?
I'm starting now to just put more like stuff about my life on there, and my coach is helping me a lot with that.
Way cool.
So I'm just creating posts that aren't just talking about I work out every day,
Right.
and I like to work out, and I'm eating healthy, and I'm doing this to be healthier.
Right.
So I'm trying to put more about the things that I like
Yes.
Harry Potter and Game of Thrones and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'm finding that I am connecting a lot more with people, and then just throwing a Bible verse in my post versus just saying something
Yes.
cool
Yes.
is, or Bible verses are cool, but saying something trendy is getting way more attention than
Right.
I thought it would get.
I love it. So, sometimes we need to realize just because we want to talk about health and fitness all day doesn't mean that anybody else does. And we need to meet people where they are, and of course don't take away the things that you're selling and the thing that you believe in and love. But also we need to remember that sales is building a relationship. How can you possibly build a relationship with someone when it's a one-sided conversation? Does that make sense? Now, if you go look at my social media page, it is a little bit different because of the fact that I'm literally selling to entrepreneurs. And that gives me the ability to basically talk about business all the time, but I'm just going to tell you, every single time I put my beautiful redhead or my little girl in the picture, 1,000 times more engagement because people don't really care about me that much. So we have to always ask, what do other people want to see and what do other people want to hear? Because that's just good communication. Imagine going and sitting down with someone to have coffee. And for 2 hours straight, you do nothing but tell them everything you're passionate about and never give them a chance to talk or to even find out if these are the things they like to talk about. And then for 2 hours, we're going to sit here, I'm going to tell you about my meal plan. Let me tell you about my meal plan. On Sundays, every Sunday, 2 p.m., and then I change into my workout clothes, and then I take my mom crack, and then I work out with this Shaun T guy, and then I take my Recover, and then I eat more vegetables. Now, don't you want to join my team? No, I don't want to join your team. I'd like you to shut up. I'm trying to enjoy some coffee, and I just want to have a conversation. Now, in that conversation, of course the things you're passionate would come out, right? My 10-year-old does this. He will ask you a question just to make it feel like he gave you a chance to talk, and then he'll basically like, you're like, what do you think about that, Dad? He's like obsessed with like Starbucks. My 10-year-old boy is basically a basic 15-year-old girl. He's like, loves Starbucks, he loves to talk about Target, and he wants to decorate his room, and so he will ask for your opinion about these things, but only hoping that you say, I love it as much as you do, and then he's going to keep going on. If you say anything other than I love it as much as you do, okay, you be quiet, that's not fun. And that's it. And that's what it feels like, because I follow a lot of Beachbody coaches because of follow, unfollow, guilty. So my newsfeed is full of a bunch of Beachbody coaches, and when I wake up in the morning, I can just scroll for 15 seconds, and the only thing I see is sweaty selfies. That's it. Now, again, your followers aren't following 100 Beachbody coaches, but subconsciously, have they already checked out from your newsfeed because they know exactly what to expect every single day? Now, on one hand, they should expect something from you every day, but when it's the exact same thing every single day, who's still listening? Does that make sense? So part of it, yes, is actually building a relationship and having a conversation with people. But putting out the 3 things, and this is why I like to come up with like 3 different things, because then it's not talking about the exact same thing every single day. I've got 3 things that I want to rotate and sprinkle into my lifestyle posts, into my health and fitness posts, into all these different things that I want to talk about on social media. Okay? So, we have to talk about the business. Okay? We have to call out to the kind of people we want. And then we got to do this scary thing. We have to invite people to join us. And this is where I really want to dig in with the last hour that we have. Okay? I want you to write this down. I would love to recruit more people. But the problem is, you fill in the blank. I would love to recruit more people, but unfortunately, Josh, there's this problem. And don't just write me. Tell me why you're the problem. If you are the problem, I want to hear why. I'm not enough, I lack. Don't cheat. Those are my notes. She like scrolls through, fills it out, and sleeps. I'm out of here. I would love to recruit people, but the problem, yes?
I just need you to repeat something because I missed it.
Okay, what do you want me to repeat?
Talk about the business, something, invite people.
So we have to call out the kind of people
What
we
want.
want.
Who
we
Go.
Like what?
Thank you.
Takes a village.
Thank you, good note takers. Okay. And I just kind of want to go around the room, and I want you guys to kind of share some of the things, because I think you will all be very relieved to find out that you're not the only one who feels this way. Okay? But also, we got to solve this problem. Okay? Because remember this. Consistency plus intensity plus worth plus time. Okay? In reality, if I could get you to consistently, and this is something I'm doing in my groups where everyone has to do 3 recruiting invites every single day. It's so magical. And then every single day we do a check-in. If you recruited someone or got a no today, we let you celebrate. Because I want you to celebrate that you got a no. Right? Because not everyone's going to recruit anybody for the first 30 days. But if you can say, I got a no today, if I can get you to do that for 30 days, somebody's going to join your team. Okay? And so we got people celebrating getting no's because I just want you to go get no's. Those lead to yeses. So in a perfect world, if you would consistently invite people, okay? I want you to think about intensity more as almost like your social media posting, because that's honestly your free advertising for your business, okay? It does make people a little more excited when you show up in the inbox when your newsfeed is something they've enjoyed following, correct? And then we've got this worth thing, okay? Now here's what we're about to address is the worth. Because at the end of the day, every single person, does everyone have a recruiting script that they know how to access somewhere in the files or training somewhere that they've taken? Yes, everyone does, correct? So if you tell me you don't know how to invite people, you are a liar. You're a liar. Now, I don't think you're intentionally lying. I think you've convinced yourself that you don't know how. In reality, you have recruiting scripts. Command C, Command V. As you can see, my assistant's doing most of that for me now. I forgot how to copy. Command C, Command V. That simple, right? You know how to recruit. The problem is when we get over to this worth part, there's something here that in here you've already convinced yourself there's a problem. How many of you wrote something down when I said, I'd love to recruit people, but the problem is blank? Did everybody write something down? Okay. That shows me there's something wrong. Because in a perfect world, you wouldn't have wrote anything down. You would say, I'd love to recruit, instead of saying, but the problem is, you'd say, no, I just love to recruit. That's it. That's all you would say. You'd just say, I love to recruit. What do you mean the problem? There's not a problem, bro. I just love to recruit. If there is a problem, the only problem that could possibly exist is the one that you have created inside your own head. Napoleon Hill says the only limits that exist are the ones we create in our own head. There are no other limits. Because seed, soil, water, light, tree. The only problem that could possibly exist in that scenario is that it just hasn't been enough time for that tree to grow yet. Does that make sense? Like if you were planting a tree and someone came along and said, I thought you said you'd love the tree, have a tree. What's the problem? Well, the problem is it's only been 4 weeks, buddy, and it takes a little bit longer for a tree to grow, so why don't you back off me, right? You wouldn't be like, well, the problem is I think maybe it's the wrong season or the fertilizer. No, it's just only been, it just hasn't been long enough. So time is really it's our only enemy when all things are perfect. But if there are other enemies, it's ones that we have created ourselves. Does that make sense? So we're going to go through some of these enemies. I want to talk about some of these enemies. What's your enemy that you created?
Rejection.
I'd love to recruit, but the problem is there's going to be a lot of rejection. Right? Okay, let's talk about it. Anybody else? Who else? Rejection. Got a couple more? How many of you didn't write that down, but now that she said it out loud, you're like, yeah, I should have wrote that down. This is why I love group workshops, is because sometimes it's not the thing that was on the top of your head, but it's still like swimming around down in there. And we get it in a group setting, we get to get rid of just like all of the junk that's in there. So let's talk about rejection. Who are you afraid of rejecting you?
I'm a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So
Me too. It sucks.
it does, it really does. But I'm still new
Mm-hmm.
to the whole coaching. It's been less than a year.
Okay.
So I'm still learning everything, and I don't really know how to like put things in my own perspective per se.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just go strictly off the scripts.
Mm-hmm.
I try to change it up the best that I can,
Mm-hmm.
but still it kind of.
I would rather have someone follow the exact same script and do all the work than have someone try to create their own script
Amen.
and do half the work.
Sorry.
I mean, I get my own scripts messaged to me sometimes. And then I'll see them pop in and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I had that automated, and I'm just like, way to go. That's awesome. Because that shows me they're doing the work. I'm not offended that you sent me a script. Okay? So you said you're afraid of rejection. You guys see what's happening here? I said who you're afraid of rejecting. She completely circled around and tried to distract me with all these other things about I'm new, I don't know exactly what to say, and see how quickly we go into the how-to? We always convince ourselves that the problem is the how-to, when in reality, the problem is rejection, not how-to. Okay? If you're who's your upline? Okay, if you're copy and pasting the scripts that she's giving you, I can promise you right now you're her favorite coach. Because everybody else is like, I've been, for the last 7 hours, trying to figure out how to reword the script into my own words. Which means I haven't invited anybody, right? Okay, so who are you afraid of getting rejection from?
Everyone, I guess.
Everyone? Everyone?
Maybe not everyone.
Everyone or just the people on social media?
All the people on social media.
Okay, now, who are you building this business for?
Myself and my family.
Myself and my family. You're not building it for the people on social media? You weren't like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sign up to be a Beachbody coach because I heard that there are so many people in the world, and I just really, I know we can barely pay our mortgage, but I want to sign up for this so that I can pay their mortgage. Meanwhile, we lose our house and we're homeless. You didn't say that? No, it's for you and your family first. Then we express it to the rest of the world once we can take care of our own house, right? So are you really afraid of rejection from everyone?
Well, now that you put it that way.
Or are you afraid of rejection from the wrong people?
Maybe from the wrong people.
Here's what we do as people pleasers. I'm gonna tell you because I'm a people pleaser, okay? When I decided to go all in on my business, I had to find a way. Here's what your limiting beliefs are gonna do. They're gonna try to attach to some type of heartstring, right? To make you feel like you're really selfish if you do this thing that could improve your life, okay? So she's saying, I'm afraid of rejection because I want to help all of these people. I don't want to hurt them. It's essentially what the story she's telling herself. But here's what her limiting beliefs left out of the story. Because I'm telling you, our limiting beliefs are smart. They left out of the story that there's this family over here that's the most important, valuable thing in her life. She hasn't thought about whether or not they reject her today. She hasn't thought about what family will think 5 years down the road when she says she has an opportunity that could have changed their lives and changed their entire world that she sat on because at Alabama Fitness left a nasty comment 2 weeks ago. I don't know who Alabama Fitness is, I made that up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here's the affirmation. Do you guys believe in affirmations? Here's an affirmation for you. And anyone who is a people pleaser, like me, please write this down. I am choosing today to live to please the right people, not all people.
So one more time.
I am choosing to live today to please the right people, not all people.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I fill out that one just a little bit?
Of course you can. Let's do it.
So mine is I'm a CPA, headed for a partner next year.
Mhm.
So I can get to meet all the partners throughout the firm.
Yeah.
I'm afraid the partners will think my time is too divided
Mm-hmm.
and trying to reach too many different goals at one time
Totally.
when you have to go build a business.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, this business and CPA networking professional firm, it's the same thing. It's sales, it's still helping
Totally.
people, it's still all the same lines.
Totally.
It's why I have actually stayed in
Yeah.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of it rebuilding confidence myself.
Yeah.
So my team is humble, smart, hungry,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm always afraid that the firm's gonna think, she's got the time over here or here.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas it's important that people have an active life, that they grow healthy, that they age gracefully.
Yes.
30 minutes of exercise keeps most of us from getting sick.
Yes.
And the nation health crisis in this world is horrible.
Yeah.
When a lot of it can be prevented,
Yeah.
especially things like diabetes that runs in the home.
Yeah.
And you're just more active and you take off the stress. But that belief, I mean, I haven't posted probably in 4 months, anything.
Well, here's the thing. It always cracks me up a little bit in a safe environment like this. How people will always give you the secret sauce that they could have already used. You literally just sold me on why Beachbody is essential in your life as a CPA. And so here's the problem again, we've got all of us have this or mentality, okay? Instead of an and mentality. I just need you to go sell on social media, thinking about the fact that your CPA and your followers are watching. CPA, not your CPA, your boss is your partner,
Your
whatever.
business.
Okay. I want you to pretend that they're watching, and I want you to literally talk to social media the same way you just talked to me. Because you just sold to me, we could have taken that post two different ways right there. Let's pretend that was a social media post, okay? As your boss, I'm watching, I'm like, thank God she's doing that, because otherwise it sounds like she'd be sick. She'd never be showing up for work. No wonder she's such a good worker. Right?
Yeah.
But if I'm your follower, I'm reading that going, you know what? I'm not really necessarily looking for a second career per se. But, I mean, I do have this career over here that is really important to me. And I do get sick. And I am losing energy. And I am competing with a bunch of people that are a bunch of young bucks coming up. And honestly, if I looked and felt as good as her, I probably would have got 3 more promotions already. Does that make sense?
It does.
And then, of course, from a recruiting aspect, some of that is stuff we can do more behind the scenes when we have, this is not for everybody, so don't try to take this on yourself, when we have a situation like this. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if you're talking about how awesome this is and how much better it makes you feel, how it makes you better for your job, it makes you better for everything else, you're going to have people in your inbox wanting information, wanting advice, and you can go more the route of recruiting challengers. You can go more the route of talking about recruiting in the inbox. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I want you to talk about the fact, the accountability factor as a coach is always huge. So glad I decided to be a coach. Because honestly, showing up for other people, that always holds me accountable, okay? But maybe just not talk the way some of these other ladies are like, at the coffee shop, working on my side hustle. I wouldn't sell it as much of a side hustle as much as the thing that just makes everything else in life better and click and work together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And
What's that?
At 56 is a different audience than some of the other ones, so that works for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I thank you for that? Because you just helped me have a connection in my head
Good.
about just sort of where I'm at and how to bridge the two things that, because I have a day job and I love my day job, I do. I'm just, but I love this other part as well. So that really was helpful.
I have a couple girls in my mastermind that have other businesses that are successful, like very successful. And they're like, Josh, honestly, when I was having them go through an exercise to find out like kind of like what's their transformation story that they have to tell the world about coaching, both of them were like, honestly, ever since coaching, because of personal development and everything it's taught me about being intentional with my time, all of my businesses are thriving more because of what I've learned here. Because in 20 years of running my own businesses, no one ever told me about personal development. So that's the thing, is we all have different places we want to get to, and that's okay. What matters is that you are expressing to the world why this thing has changed your life. Not necessarily trying to copy how it changed someone else's life. Okay? Yes?
Mine's a little different.
Everyone's a little different. But of course you can.
So I'm afraid also, but I am currently jobless, a disabled veteran, and afraid of failure.
Okay.
So I'm afraid of failing myself because of being too broken to even make it through the program and not having a job. I have Monica who is supporting me with everything I'm doing, but it's like I don't even know where to start because I can't afford to do what everyone else can do. I'm here because she paid for me to be here.
Fear of failure, raise your hand. Got any of those? I'm gonna throw up my second hand. Okay? Fear of failure. Okay? First of all, thank you for your service.
Yes.
Second of all, I love, 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 love to take things we've already been through to help us to understand what we're currently going through. Because we're always more emotional attached to what we're going through than what we have already been through. Okay? So let's go back to, what branch were you in? Army. Okay. Let's go back to boot camp.
Yeah.
Were you scared to death?
No, I was excited.
You're excited. tell me something along the journey that you were unsure about within Army.
When I was in Iraq,
Okay.
that I was scared to death.
Yeah, literally. Okay. Now, depended on you.
Yeah.
You're afraid to let them down.
Mhm.
What was your greatest motivation in those times? Was it keeping yourself safe? Was it keeping them safe? Was it
No,
loved
it
ones
was
at
keeping
home?
them safe.
Keeping them safe.
And my biggest motivation at the time, like my whole reason for volunteering to go to Iraq, was that if I could go, mom and dad would not have to go, so that a child would not lose their parent. My parents had me for 18 years, so I wasn't worried about it.
That's the sweetest thing ever.
Wow.
So your greatest motivation. Here's where we all have to learn our greatest motivation and our greatest heartstrings. Okay? Because let's be real, for a lot of us who joined a business like this based around helping other people, we are not our greatest heartstring. Our greatest heartstring is our loved ones, other people, correct? So your greatest motivation was keeping your team safe. Okay? Now, I want you to think about this. Could you agree that Beachbody is your team?
Brand new, yes.
But they are your team. Could you also agree that anyone who is also a vet, a disabled vet, or has had any of the experiences that you've had to go through is kind of your team too?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. How many of them are struggling with what you're struggling with today?
I know lots of vets that are jobless.
Scared to death.
Yeah.
Not the same way, not scared to death the same way we were in Iraq, totally different kind, right? But at the end of the day, sometimes, I've never been to war, of course, but just in my own head, I'm thinking, I don't know, that maybe seems like an easier fear to deal with because you don't have a choice. You're just in the moment, you're stuck there, survival instinct kicks in, right? You come home, you don't have that survival instinct kicking. It's a totally different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Completely different ball game. And so, again, not speaking from any type of experience, but just thinking it through in my head of what like the difference must be like, I have to imagine. And I did have a friend that had this happen. He came out of the military, and the military told him he'd have all this experience, he could get a good job. Everywhere he went, they said, sorry, you did that in the military, that's not really experience. Our system is totally different.
Yeah.
He had to start over from scratch. So he felt like he'd been lied to. He gave away like 8 years of his life to protect the people who wouldn't hire him because that's not real experience. I'm pretty sure that's like way more intense experience than any of us have because of a damn college degree. But, so you've got a whole team of people going through what you're going through. What if you could be the one to push through? What if you could be the one that makes the decision, I'm scared to death, but for my team, I'm going to show up today. Because if I can get through this 80-day program and share my results with the world around me, my team, I can maybe save one of them. And then if I could find a way to turn this into an income, I mean, I could then teach my team how to do that. If nothing else, if I did nothing else, what if I just became the voice of hope for the people that have gone through what I've gone through? John Maxwell says that leaders are dealers in hope. Do you know why anyone gives any of us money? Hope. Because they see that you have created something they really want. They sign up with you and give you money with the hope that they could become that too. Does that make sense? So fear of failure does suck. It sucks really bad. But I like to put it this way. If I stay here, I fail by default. If I move forward, I may still fail, but at least not by default. And me personally, I want to stay in control of anything I can. Couldn't control whether or not my plane got here last night, but tell you what, I was doing everything to calculate numbers and keep as much control as I could to just at least know what it was going to be like. At the end of the day, was I really in control? Not really, but because I kind of thought I was in control, I asked you guys to pray, I asked my team to pray, we got here. Okay? So it's scary, but there's a lot of people dependent on you. So I want you to use them as your motivation when you can't use yourself. Can you do that? And that goes for everybody here. You know, I know that not all of us can relate to as extreme of a situation, right? But how many of you here are afraid to fail because you're afraid to let people down? How many of you don't recruit because you're afraid to let them down?
I think that's huge. That's huge.
Let's talk about this one.
Yeah.
We gotta dig into this
That's
one. Yes, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah,
Just to speak.
absolutely.
I think it's important to know that our insecurities too are strengths for other people because we share the same insecurities and possibly same hurts or disabilities or whatever. You thinking that you can't get through a program might be something that you can use, you know, well, it is something you can use as part of your story because other people aren't only getting through the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever until they can consistently get through the whole program. So I say use that too.
Totally. I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about recruiting. When you don't believe in the product you're selling. Now that's not the product as in the Shakeology and the workout. That's the product as in you get me as your leader. Who wants to sign up? You get me. Also in my Super Saturday presentation, yes, I love it, I love it, love it, love it. Okay. How many of you in here have helped people lose weight? Raise your hand. Okay. Now, keep your hand up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Okay? Keep your hand up if you are some type of a certified personal trainer or nutritionist. Keep your hand up. Okay, like 80, 90% of the hands went down. Keep your hands up if you have created your own workout curriculum and program. How do you guys help people lose weight?
Behavior change.
What's that?
It's behavior change.
Okay.
You don't have to have the technical expertise on those things to help people change behaviors.
I was about to drop a bomb, but I don't know if we're PG or PG-13 here.
PG-13. It's Sunday, it's PG.
Okay, PG. PG on Sundays, that's fine.
I'll go for PG-13.
I can roll with either. I can roll with either. So can you just say that 20 more times? For real, one more time though.
Oh my goodness, like the exact words? I don't know.
No, not the exact words. I know, I hear people do that to me too. Repeat that. I'm like,
It's behavior change. Yeah, it's behavior change. We're not selling the technical part of it. We're helping people with behavior change.
oh my God. That was me praying, by the way. We're not selling the technical. And Beachbody coaches, I love you to death. But your technical, schmechnical talk drives me crazy. The way you think that you gotta have 1,000 ways to do everything. I built my business to 10,000 plus a month on the worst script you've ever seen in your life. I just sent it to enough people. I was too stupid to have any better of a script. But I was smart enough to send it to everyone in the world. I was stupid smart. It's not technical. See, you're afraid they're going to sign up, they're going to get me. How many of you would say, Josh, I'm afraid of them signing up with me because I know how much more qualified my upline or someone else in the company is. It's a comparison game. Okay. That's usually one of the things. So tell me this. How many people in the world? Anybody know?
A lot.
Millions.
7.1.
313 million just in the United States. 313 million. There's another 75 million in the UK. I apologize if you're Canadian. I don't know the population of Canada. I love you, Canada, but I don't know your population. But I think it's
A lot.
it's more than the UK. Definitely more than the UK, and I can't remember for sure if it's more than the United States or not.
36.71
With that kind of land mass, they got a lot of woods, apparently. But still, okay, we're talking over 400 million that you have the ability to sell to. Okay? Now, How many of you are doing some sneaky things to grow your following via Stem Social? Maybe we just recently shut it down because you're scaring the crap out of us. How many of you are doing some things to accumulate followers from different places? Or maybe even Facebook groups of, different interest groups that you're joining, using hashtags to go find people. So are 100% of your followers people that are also following your uplines? No. And if they had to choose between signing up with you or signing up with no one, which way's better? See, you're over here. See, this would be like, okay, Stephanie texts me, says, Josh, such a bummer that Sean T took over the show. You don't get to speak, but would you like to come to a workshop? And I say, I'd really like to, but I really just think that John Maxwell's the only one that has anything to say. Stephanie says, that's real cute, Josh, but he's $100,000 to show up and speak. So it's kind of thinking we could maybe work out a deal. Do you see how stupid that sounds if I compare myself to J-Max? See how ridiculous that sounds? Here's the problem, is all of you are going, yeah, but Josh, but you have this and this and this and this. That's stupid for you to even make that comparison. But wouldn't you say J-Max got just as much on me as your upline has on you? Dude's authored over 90 books. Dude literally serves on the Presidential Advisory Council for every Fortune 50 company that exists. Okay? So, if you had to choose, let's just be honest, let's get a contract with Josh or let's get a contract with John Maxwell in the same price. Of course, everyone in the room, including myself, choosing John Maxwell. But how many of you in here have the option to have John Maxwell standing in front of you in a room of 40 people? You don't. So which one's better? J-Max or nothing? Me or nothing? In this scenario, I hope that me is better than nothing. So your problem is you're comparing yourself to an option that's not even available. Because your upline isn't going to find them the same way you found them. They're not following you, your upline, the same way they're following you. And they don't relate to your upline the same way they relate to you. They're following you because of who you are and what you're putting out, or because you tricked them into following you through some follow-unfollow magic. But either way, they're here with you, not with your upline. Okay? So number one, I need you to decide, this could be an affirmation, I am signing every person humanly possible. Because it would be unfair of me to let people slip through the cracks that may not have had any other option. And if you think that not joining with you is better, if you think someone's better off with 0 than with you, then we got some other things we need to talk about. And that's the thing that I really want to talk about, is this whole technical thing, okay? How many of you, okay, helped someone lose weight because you gave him a program someone else created? Gave them a meal plan someone else created. Yeah? How many of you, when you first started off, even put them in a challenge group that you weren't necessarily running? Some of you still doing that. It's time to grow up. Come on. In other words, the only thing you did was get them to sign. That's it. You just convinced them to sign on the dotted line. That's it. And then what'd you do? Oh, way to go, girl. You're so good. I'm so proud of you. You showed up for the first time in 45 days. Oh, my God. You were essentially their cheerleader. And I don't say that to undermine what you do, okay? But when you start off, that really is the only thing you know how to do, correct? But wouldn't you say again that having the program that Beachbody has created, I hear there's some pretty smart people up there doing some things, and the nutrition plan that Beachbody created, okay, and the environment that possibly your upline was creating, the community that it came with, and then having an individual that knew their name that could come in and cheer them on and know that someone had their back. Wouldn't you guys say that that is so much more valuable than what the gym offers, what personal trainers offer? It's so much more valuable than, honestly, and this is just my opinion, maybe I'm a little biased because I love Beachbody, it's really more valuable than what any other nutrition package out there offers. Really is. And that's when you're a newbie and don't know how to do anything other than, oh, I'm so glad you showed up today, way to go. Because Beachbody created good enough of a package that honestly, just you putting a personal touch on it already made it unlike anything else out there. Correct? Remove you from it, and Beachbody already has an incredible package, with or without you. It's just that the personal touch, honestly, takes it to a whole new level. Would you guys agree? Now let's go to recruiting, because everyone's like, yes, 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 yes. Go to recruiting, but me. But me. Okay. You guys have a pretty brilliant upline. I don't know if you guys know that. There's some incredible coaches in here. Now, Beachbody has put together business resources. Last time I checked, they're doing some pretty smart stuff. On top of that, your uplines are creating pretty incredible resources. On top of that, YouTube, just FYI. On top of that, National Wake Up Call. On top of that, all the personal development books that are available to you. So, why is it that signing up to run a business with you is any different when you aren't an expert? Is any different than signing up to lose weight with you when, again, you aren't an expert? How is that different? Can someone explain to me how that's different?
I think we think people expect more when they sign on for the business side versus when they sign on for.
They expect more when they sign up for a business than when they sign up for fitness. Okay, so let's talk about that. Okay? Because how many of you say, Josh, when I first signed up, that $150 was hard to spit out to tell people how much it cost to buy a challenge pack? Right? Okay? So now but over time, you programmed yourself to understand the value, correct? And sometimes you didn't fully even believe the value, but you wrote it all out anyways. And sometimes by the time you wrote it all out, you're like, oh, geez, I got to start copying and pasting this because we offer a lot of value. Correct?
Yes.
But you haven't taken the time to do that with the business, have you? And one of the main reasons is because you're not inviting people to join your team so you don't have to send the information as often. Just saying. If you just invited people to join your team every single day, over time, guess what you have to get creative about doing? Painting the value. Correct? So, let's talk with our last 20 minutes about the package that you have to offer when it comes to recruiting. Because I do think that the most important part of sales, number one is belief in yourself, but number two is belief in the package that you're selling. When I worked at Fossil, after 90 days you got a free watch, which I learned was the most powerful selling tool that I had, because guys would be looking at these expensive watches, and then here's what they would do. They'd look at when I was telling them how good these watches were, we got an 11-year warranty. No one else even comes close to that. 11 years. You can take this thing home. I'm not wearing this is an Apple Watch. You can take this thing home, and if in 10 years and 9 months this thing stops working, you bring it to us. We either fix it, or if we can't fix it, we give you a brand new one equivalent to the price you paid. First thing they do when I say that, which that all sounds magical, but then they look up at my wrist to see if I'm wearing a Fossil watch. And as long as I'm wearing the Fossil watch, okay, good, I can trust this guy. Now if they look up and I'm wearing a Timex, I don't have a sale, correct? So number one, you gotta believe in yourself, but number two, you really do have to believe in the product you're about to offer, or it's gonna be a tough sale, right? I tried to sell some things a couple times I didn't believe in very well. I flopped hard because my integrity wouldn't really let me do it. So I just stopped trying. For some of you, that's the problem, is you don't believe enough in the product to sell it with integrity, so you stop trying. Agreed? So, let's just write this down because it's hilarious. What's the business fee?
$15.95.
Write that down. $15.99. Well, we really set this up to over-deliver. $15.99. Now, I want everyone, we're going to do this as a group. Let's make a list, and I want you to write down the package as we hear these things, okay? Take away for a minute, money and rent. Let's just take that away for a second, okay? Let's talk about that package a little bit later. But first of all, let's just go over all the package details. Someone, let's just take turns. Tell me something that coaching has done for you that's improved your life.
Confidence.
Confidence. Everyone write it down.
Community.
Community. Write it down. Accountability. Can we use the word increased accountability? Would that be okay, guys? Because I know the challenge pack is already offering accountability, but the coaching takes it to a higher level. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Growth.
Growth.
Personal growth.
Personal growth.
Purpose.
Purpose. That's my favorite. What else?
Passion.
Passion. This is a really good $15.99 package.
Freedom.
Freedom. Okay.
Opportunity.
Opportunity. Could we add with the word opportunity? Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Impact.
Impact.
Travel.
What's that?
Travel.
Travel. Travel. I had personally never traveled further east than Iowa or west than Colorado before my business. Improved health. Like a continuing improved health, as opposed to hang out for 30 days and then be done. You got to lead by example. What's the word I just used? Lead. Leadership development. Would you guys all agree? Leadership development. Even if all you do is run challenge groups, there's still some leadership development happening there. Can I add something that I see? People skills. You see some people coming into the business with some real rough people skills. Some of the most successful coaches in the company came in with some rough people skills.
She gave me my first customer. No joke. Careful. Gave her her first customer.
Now,
Well, there's Shakeology. You might want to go check.
she's like, this person actually commented on your post saying, could you please message them? Okay.
There's also,
Yeah.
with this business prize, there's some financial safety, because to create something like this, if you were just to do this from scratch, there's a lot of upfront investment.
So I love that. So financial gains, meaning the investment has been made for you by Beachbody to put together everything. I love that. So how do we want to word that?
I don't know.
I even think financial opportunity.
Okay, so financial opportunity. I think we could also say, could we call Beachbody kind of like our angel investor?
Ooh, I like that.
We come in already with the investment has already been made. Because usually if you're going to start your own business, you got to go collect investors to try to create the product. My good friend Andrew Crowder just did this with the business, and it's a headache. Raising funds, then you got to hire someone to do the branding. You got to hire someone to do the paperwork, the legal side. You guys get all that just handed to you. It's like a business in a box, right? Like literally when your challenge pack shows up, it is a business in a box.
It's a franchise without the franchise.
Yes, franchise without the fee.
Minimal overhead.
Minimal overhead, yes.
No, back office, because they do all the inventory and all the shipping. And
Back.
if you ever did one of those,
Yes, if you guys don't know this, if you don't have experience with network marketing, some of the other companies that I work with, they buy their own products up front at wholesale and then have to ship them to people.
So,
When I saw people talking about going to the post office, I'm like, why? It sounds like a nightmare. I know, right? So, okay, I actually sat in a presentation for an MLM. Somebody tricked me into it. I thought we were going to get coffee to talk about a new business idea she had and wanted my feedback. It was almost a good idea, okay? Because they were trying to take coffee, which was the fastest growing industry at the time. I mean, it's still a pretty good industry. This was like 10 years ago. And they were putting superfoods in it. But it was also instant. So it was like convenient and healthy, and everyone loves coffee. Problem is, it tasted like garbage. They get to the presentation at the end, and they're like, here's the thing. For your starter package, $2,000. And you're going to get all of these products that you can then go sell. And here's the thing. When you have sold your starter kit, you will have made $8,000. That's $6,000 profit. And I'm sitting there. First of all, the guy brought the heat, and I loved his presentation. But I was like, that's the worst coffee I've ever had in my life. And I was thinking to myself, this company is a scam. Because if you can get people excited enough, how many of you can say, Josh, if I would have paid $2,000 up front for this opportunity, I wouldn't have even made my money back yet? Several of you, right? How many of you can say, of the people that I've recruited, many of them. So here's what they're depending on. They're depending on people to pay $2,000 up front, and then guess what? If no one ever shows up ever again, doesn't matter, they got their $2,000. They're selling $2,000 of products every single time someone signs on as a rep. You guys only buy your own products. So that's the thing, is I think sometimes we get spoiled by Beachbody, not realizing how well we have it in comparison to even some of the other network marketing companies. You didn't have an upfront investment. You had what was it, $15.99? Now, I want everyone to look at your package. This is not even talking about the fact that you can even make money off of this. And that's where everyone, in my opinion, is stuck. Because you're scared to death to promise this recruiting opportunity when if you're not making money, how in the world can you help someone else make money? Would you guys, is that for some of you? Yeah. Okay. So let's take away money for a minute. I challenge you to grow my mastermind, who's been trying to talk about money, freedom, money, freedom. I was like, Brett, here's the deal. You're not making money. I don't know why you keep talking about freedom. No wonder you're not recruiting, because you're trying to sell a product you don't have yet. It's like those travel companies you run into on Instagram, you know, where they're like, it's like there's some type of MLM where you're like a travel agent MLM. You're like, don't you want to travel around the world? And I'm like, let's be real, you don't travel around the world. What are you even selling? Right? So, and that's where people start to feel like they're not being genuine. Like they're trying to put out a product they don't really have to offer. So let's get rid of the part of the product you don't offer yet. Okay? Let's just get rid of that for now. Now, if you are making money, then offer that part of the product. I made enough to pay for my groceries. I made enough to, a girl on Micah's team posted yesterday that she just made a weekly check that paid their mortgage. Now, is that as cool as Micah buying her a Mercedes-Benz for date night? The date night Benz? No, but honestly, it's way more relatable. Yeah. Correct? All of you think, well, if I could buy a date night Mercedes-Benz, I'd have millions of people sign up for me. Incorrect. People go,
I can't do that.
butthole, I'm keeping it PG. My first couple of years, it was so easy. So easy to talk about the journey. But when you start doing things that are like on a higher level, nobody wants to hear about that, just to be honest. They think you are a douche if you start saying those kind of things. You have this magical power of being relatable. And each new step that you take is like this thing that people get to watch, and they get to see the progress, just like when you're doing 80-day obsession and you're posting like weekly pictures. Does that make sense? So, everyone look at the package you have to offer. Now tell me, at $16 a month, worth it or not?
Yeah.
Dude, you guys are making me feel so expensive right now. $16 a month. And you can have what? Read me the list.
Confidence, community, accountability, income, personal growth, purpose, passion, freedom, opportunity, hope, impact, travel, improved healthy lifestyle, leadership development, people skills, financial gain with an angel investor. You have a business in a box handed to you, minimal overhead. Don't buy your own products, no upfront costs, back office.
Wow. Now, okay, here's what I want to do next. Based on, I want you to pretend for a second you're watching the infomercial and this is what you just heard. Okay? Let's pull a Grant Cardone. When Grant Cardone sends me his sales emails, he always puts what everything is worth. He's like, these 7 calls equivalent to $1,900. These 2 extra bonus equivalent to $700. And by the end of it, it's worth like 20 grand. And he's like, on sale now for $6.99. Like, whoa, really? Just $6.99? Okay. Grant Cardone getting me every time. I sent him $700 just to say thank you for all the books you wrote. I love you. So let's put a price on this that we really think genuinely. Okay, what would this be worth? Like let's rewind for a second back to when you first signed up, and let's think like thinking about who you were before you had all of these things and who you've become. No money here. Okay, you as a human used to be this way, and now you have all of these things. Let's almost think of this as almost like a personal growth package. What is this package worth?
I mean, if someone's selling coffee for, yeah.
Priceless. Priceless. But if we could, let's just try. Let's just try to come up with, let's pretend for a second this is a sales and marketing strategy team. Okay? Let's pretend for, and I want you guys to all put the word priceless as the very last word. Priceless. Because that's a magical word. I think we need to keep that in mind. We are literally offering a priceless option. And to be honest, if you don't believe that about your product, there is a problem. Because I personally believe that about my product. Stephanie, I'm asking them to put a price on the package that we have just put together.
It's like it's over $500,000. I mean, you think about the products that you don't have to invest in, and these upfront costs, and the legal fees, and the legal documents, and all that. It's a lot of money, but I couldn't tell you exactly how much.
Ask Melissa what her check since her initial investment, $1,595.
Wow.
And I'm saying if an individual's
if we
to
were
do this in this sort of
right, if we were selling this package, okay, to people we weren't trying to help and make a difference in the world. We were just, as a business, this is a business idea. And we're going to put in all the work to create this package to offer someone else. She's saying around $500,000.
Because it's like a franchising concept, right? And most franchising concepts or franchises
Correct.
are, the upfront cost can be $500,000 to $1 million.
Yes, the upfront cost, I was actually Googling the other day, I think for a McDonald's it's like $100,000. But you also got to think about with a McDonald's, it's $100,000 up front, and then you got to pay all of the costs to keep it going.
Yeah, they actually
Right.
have franchise fees every month that you have to pay just to be able to be a
So-
part of the franchise.
So she says $500,000. Do we have any other suggestions on what we should sell this to? Now again, we're not trying to change people's lives right now. We're just trying to put a price on what we offer the world. Any other suggestions? I want to hear them. There's no wrong suggestion. If you want, you can say 20,000. You can say $1 million. You can say your firstborn kid. Whatever you want to say. I want to hear what you think this kind of a package is worth. What is it? Talk to me.
I mean, I think like in reality, if you were to go through and try to pull some of this stuff together, you'd do. I started a clothing store for $25,000, and
Okay.
it was a hobby.
Yeah.
Never made any money.
Yeah.
My husband and I started this business for $210, which is what it was back then,
Yeah.
and have made millions. And it's just like, how crazy is that? And but if I had to put okay, that, I put it on for like $20,000.
$20,000. Is that what you said? 20?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Write that price down, guys. $20,000. Now this is coming from someone with experience. And here's what I love. I love what you said. I spent $25,000 to start my own company as a hobby.
I didn't want it to be a hobby.
Yeah. but let's be real. Me and my girlfriend love local boutiques. We love going on, and I walk in and I love it and I appreciate it, and then I walk out and I can't help but go,
And you're
"Is
like,
this fun?" I go, they're losing this place in like 3 months.
I pray to God they don't have a long contract on the lease.
I
Right?
did 2 build-outs in my photography studio and
Yeah.
spent over $20,000.
Spent over $20,000 on build-outs.
And that
for
wasn't my
photography.
monthly cost for rent or
Right.
air conditioning or anything. That was another $2,500 a month.
Okay.
We bought a business that was 50 grand, it lost 100.
Spent 50, lost 100.
Because by the time we
Yeah.
closed it down, we lost, it was at least 100.
You know what I think we missed out on our package? I think we missed something really, really significant. That there's really no risk.
Yeah,
Right.
There's not a risk of loss. In any other business in the world, there's always a risk of loss.
Well, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee, which just blows my mind.
All
You didn't
right,
write that
30
down
day money
either.
back here.
And then we'll even stretch that. So
30-day and flexible. 30-day-ish. So tell me this now that you guys are really looking at the package that we have to offer. Okay? This is with you removed.
Yeah.
You're not even attached to this package that we're currently offering. How many of you would say, even if I am the worst leader on the planet, someone getting all of these things based on the fact that they're essentially going to get access to all of the same accountability and tools that I've been given, correct? Would you guys agree? Even if I legit just find someone, let's pretend for a second that you are more of like getting a finder's fee, okay? So a lot of people in my industry, we offer these like affiliate links. I could make all of you $1 million if Beachbody allowed it, but they won't allow it, so I can't offer it. But for a second, let's pretend you're an affiliate. And let's pretend that your only job is to find another, because remember, most of you, a lot of you said, I'm scared because they got to work with me instead of my upline. Well, first of all, that's not true. Unless for some reason you're like hiding them from your upline, which you shouldn't do. So let's pretend for a second that you're not even their leader. You're not even their coach. Let's pretend for a second that you are simply an affiliate that is pointing people who need help to your upline. And we're going to give you a finder's fee for doing so. And the thing that you're going to point them to is your upline, who is just simply providing the same package that you have, that you apparently feel pretty confident was given to you, because we just came up with it, right? How many people have confidence to do that? Say, Josh, I could just literally invite people. If I take me away from the equation, if all I had to do is point this person to this package at $15.99 a month, I could make that sale. Now do you guys see why I've said on so many calls that recruiting is just another product we offer? We try to make it into this whole other thing that like takes 700 more skill sets. In reality, it's just offering a different product. But in my opinion, it's the most complete product. Because we could make a list of all the things that the Challenge Pack has done and helped you with. And some of it would cross over with some of these things. But I think for most of you, you'd agree that for like the accountability, it went to a higher level when you made this next step into being a coach. Correct? So we have a package. It's worth somewhere between $20,000. Now, I think she's at $500,000 saying this is what's really worth.
Well,
This is what-
I'm thinking
this
of
is
the product.
right. Yeah,
so, right.
she's saying this is what it would cost to actually go do this. Okay? Over here we're talking about more like the retail value of selling it to the public. Either way, we've got a $500,000 business plan, okay, with a $20,000 basically franchising fee that really realistically could be and should be charged. That we offer the world for $15.99. And you say, yeah, but really I have to sell it for like $160 up front and talk them into Shaco, okay? But we've already established the worth on the products, correct? Would you guys say that I already have a really strong belief in the products are worth what we charge, correct? Especially, we didn't write this down, guys. In our coaching package that we're offering, discount on products. We didn't write that down. We didn't write down training. Recognition.
Appreciation.
Appreciation. How about unlimited opportunities for promotion?
Unlimited target market, it's all.
Unlimited target market. Whew. How about the fact of product research? Do you guys hear how ridiculous this package is? I'm a little pissed now. I'm a little pissed.
Then it's the expectation that we have on our, that we are trying to, let's say that she says, yeah, I want to coach, and then I get nervous about that, or something, we feel like we're not equipped, right? But we are. We clearly have lined out that we're fully
You're
equipped.
so clearly equipped.
So clearly equipped.
Because
So it's our
essentially,
expectation is what we want for them so badly, and I
Right.
think as givers and
so let's,
we want this to-
okay, you made a good point. So now we
So I feel like
clearly
what that expectation
understand,
is, yeah.
okay, we've got a challenge pack that we sell, and then we got a business in a box that we sell. Okay? Now we've got the problem of how much we love and believe in people, and we really want them to take advantage of this box. And now we've got the fear of failure,
Yeah.
the fear of letting other people down, the fear of, I want this so bad for them, are they gonna want it as bad as me? And maybe even, are they gonna let me down? I'm afraid I'm gonna let them down, but I'm also afraid they're gonna let me down. Does anybody deal with that?
Yes.
I know that. I'm afraid they're gonna let me down. Why don't we say that about our challengers?
We do.
Not the way you do about your coaches. I can tell you that from call after call. I've never once had a single person on a call come to me with a question, wanting my advice or my coaching about how do I keep challengers from falling off? How do I keep from failing my challengers?
You never had a coach ask you that?
No, never.
Not about
That's my
Not about challengers. It's always, how do I keep my coaches around? Why do my coaches keep dropping off? And I think it comes down to this. Somebody said, was it you that said that we have a higher expectancy, or was it her? Someone said, trying to sign a coach is harder because basically they have higher expectations for what the package is going to have, okay? But I think that also when we sign a coach, I think we have higher expectations for the job that they're going to do with the package.
Yes.
Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
That's not their problem, that's our problem. Because we are depending on others to build our business in a box. Does that make sense? And honestly, this problem gets solved really quickly when you just start inviting more people and selling more, because then you depend on fewer people. So we can solve that problem, first of all, by just getting more people. Then you don't notice quite as much when people drop off. I don't notice when people cancel in my group. I mean, it happens. It happens all the time, but I'm not like, oh my God, who canceled? Let me go look at their name. Let's see who this was. I just know it happens. That's just part of business. People come on, people drop off, right? But your problem is, number one, you're not bringing on enough people. Okay? The quarter you lose doesn't matter so much when you got 100 other quarters, but if it's your only quarter, it really sucks. Okay? So, problem is, number one, I'm not getting enough people. Number two, I'm attaching my hope in my future to whether or not someone else shows up. Both very unhealthy things.
So, one more time.
I'm attaching my hope and my future to whether someone else shows up or not. So here's where we have to do this thing that is really, 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 really hard. Probably the hardest part of leadership for me personally is I have to detach myself from other people's success.
Unless they're successful. Just kidding.
Unless they kill it, and then I'm advertising on every single webinar. Because here's why. Can I tell you why? And it's still hard for me. It's really hard for me when I hear that someone said something negative about one of my groups or about something that I've poured my heart and soul into. But you know what I do? I go back to the package and I ask, what did I promise? And did I over-deliver on what I promised, not what they wanted? It's a really big difference. It's a really big difference between what I sold them and maybe something they made up that it came with. I mean, I've had people reach out and say, oh my gosh, I was very frustrated with this group because it came with no one-on-one time. Like, well, you can message Joy and ask what she pays for one-on-one, and then look at what you paid, and then also look at the entire description on my website, and tell me where that should have come with a one-on-one. Also, there's 80 of you in the group. I don't know if you expected me to just be, okay, so 1 through 80. We got to get through this. Let's start at 4 o'clock in the morning. We'll end sometime next week. See, they were looking for something that wasn't promised. That's not on me. And I believe that 90% of the time that we let people down, we didn't let people down. They were looking for you to be their Jesus. I told Rob and Chelsea Pearson one time, I made them make this affirmation: I am no one's savior. I can't save you. So I call myself a push coach, because as a life coach, people were looking for a savior. And I realized as long as I talk about the testimonials of the top people that I've helped without talking about how hard I made them push, I was overselling a package. So there's where the other 10% comes in. 90% of the time it's expectations they put on us. 10% of it is expectations we didn't communicate clearly. In other words, did I invite them over to watch the Cowboys game and then 1 beer in tell them that I really wanted to try out the new Transform 20 workout together? Or did I invite them to come over and do a workout with me before we watch the Cowboys game? And then maybe need to do one afterwards. Blow some steam. Right? Does that make sense? Some of you aren't communicating expectations of the 3 words you wrote down. And then you get really disappointed that they're not motivated, that they're not blah, 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 blah. Well, the truth is you never communicated that that was the 3 things you expected from people. So, we have a package that I'm really jealous of because I don't get to sell it, and you do. We have a price point that more than makes sense. Would you guys agree? Would you guys agree? More than makes sense. How many people can raise their hand and say, honestly, after walking through this package and the price, I feel like even if I don't currently, I probably should have more confidence in this package than even the challenge package. Raise your hand. Now, of course, it's going to take some time and implementation to actually get that kind of confidence when you're messaging people, because you got to spit it out a few times on people, right? Just like the challenge route. Some of you, when you first started, you actually wrote down everything it came with. It was more you selling yourself than it was you selling them, right? So we've got to use the consistency to develop that confidence in it. But logically speaking, on paper, this is by far the best package that we offer. And then the other thing we got to remember to do is communicate what we expect from people as far as getting the value out of that package. So I hope that no one ever sells a challenge pack without telling people that they actually have to drink the Shakeology and do the workout. Does that make sense?
Same is true with the coaching.
So same is true with the coaching. We're going to sell this business in a box. But we also need to let people know it's set up for success, but it does have to be used in order to get success. This can literally be the greatest investment of your life, or it can be a box that collects dust in the corner. I'm giving you the box that comes with all of these things, but if you don't open that box, that's on you. Now I'm going to reach out to you, because that's part of the other package, is that it comes with some personal service, right? I'm going to reach out to you, check on you. Did you open the box yet? Would you like to open the box? It's a really nice box. I know you only paid $16 for it, but trust me, this is a $500,000 box. Have you opened the box yet? But at the end of the day, I can't make anyone open the box, and I cannot wear the guilt of others who fail. Because I can tell you right now, from coaching and mentoring and training thousands of people, I've never seen a person fail that opened the box and used it. Now let me add to that consistency, intensity, worth, time. I've seen a lot of people use my box for 30 days that did not have success. I've seen a lot of people even use my box for 60 and 90 days. 90 days is kind of like a 50-50 split, in my opinion. At 90 days, you've got the people who already had a little bit of confidence and momentum on their side. 90 days is enough, it's going. But someone that comes into me, zero from scratch, has no confidence, has no people skills whatsoever, 90 days ain't enough to like really, but honestly, 6 months. At 6 months, I'm talking there's like a 98% success rate. If people use the box for 6 months. Not people who had the box for 6 months. People who used the box for 6 months. Not people who are on HD with their Shakeology for 6 months. People who drank it every day. Does that make sense? Again, business, challenge group, business. It's literally the exact same thing. Which is why I love working with Beachbody coaches. The analogies are just so easy. Okay? How many of you can say, Josh, give me 6 months of someone in my challenge group doing exactly what they're supposed to do. We will, gosh, their life will be changed forever. Raise your hand. And here's the other thing I want to ask. How many of you can say that, Josh, I may not believe in myself yet, but if I stuck to the box for the business, and I did what my uplines have taught me and told me to do, and I removed myself from the equation because I finally realized what a brilliant package I'm offering. If I did that for 6 months straight, I believe my business could be a different ballgame. Raise your hand. See? You don't have a problem other than the one you made up. No one in here really has a recruiting problem. You just made some stuff up in your head that kept you from actually selling the box. Everyone in here is 100% qualified to sell this package. The question is, are you just asking enough people if they want to buy the box? Does that make sense? I'm just going to throw out a quick shameless plug. If you need help, my groups will make you do it. My groups, I've challenged people in my groups, give me 6 months in my training groups, and if you don't make more money and you don't increase your numbers, I'll give you back every penny you paid me. Because I believe in the box so much. I believe the package that you guys wrote down today, I'll be honest, I didn't even realize it was that good, but I knew it was really good. I've seen it change people's lives forever. I believe enough in the package that you have to offer that I believe if you'll just live by the system that I've created, which by the way, Vital Behaviors hadn't created, for 6 months, you'll have success. So if you're someone that does need help, wants to talk about my groups, come hit me up. We got a 50% off coupon going for January, okay? But here's what I want you to walk away from here knowing. I can do it. I can recruit people. I just have to offer. You can. It's on your shirt. You can. You can.
End of story.
But let me say this. Stephanie can't open that box for you. Joy can't open that box for you. Carl can't open that box for you. Nobody can open the box for you. I want you to look at the package again. And I want you to remind yourself that you already have that package. My question to you is, are you using it to its greatest potential? Are you actually using the crack that you're selling? I like to make drug references. Are you using the drugs that you're selling? Because this is an incredible package. So what I need you to do is be committed to this package as much as you are to the fitness package. That's why everyone's posting sweaty selfies every single day, is because you're all in on the fitness package. You're not all in on the coaching package yet. You're not. Because if you were, you'd be talking about it more. I need you all in on this package, and I need you talking about it on social media with as much excitement as you do your fitness. And then I need you, I need you. Need you. I'm going to give you the same challenge I've given my training group. I need you to put in 3 recruiting invites a day. Write it down. Write it down. And I'm going to end with a heart sinker. I know I'm a little bit over, so I'm going to end with a heart sinker and then give it back to Steph. Number 1, if you aren't recruiting, I already said this earlier, you're lying to your family. Because you're not selling the package. You're pretending, but you're not selling the package. Number 2, honestly, in my opinion, I'm just being real honest, you are letting down the world around you. I didn't have enough $40,000 to go start my own business. And the list that you just made at the age of 29, I was looking at my life and reflecting and realizing I didn't have any of those things, and I wanted them really bad. And that's why I paid to set up John Maxwell. And it's a whole lot more than $16, I'll tell you that much. If you have a package like this, with this good of it, I'm going to go ahead and say if you had a package like this at any price and you're not offering it, you're letting the world down around you. But when you have this kind of a package for $16 and you're not offering it to the world around you, in my opinion, you're not only failing yourself and your family, you're failing the world around you. Because this is an incredible opportunity that people need to know about. And absolutely, they might say no. But wouldn't you just like them to know about it, to have the chance to at least just decide for themselves to say yes or no? I would be so pissed off if I found out someone I knew had an opportunity like this at $16 and they never told me about it. I'd be so pissed off. So get over yourself. Remember your family, who you're fighting for, in the world, who you're reaching. All right? Did you guys write down recruit every day? Recruiting invites every day? Is it written down?
Twice.